Assignment B, Analyzing Student Work. In my classroom, my students' difficulty was in understanding the task of adding 10 more and 10 less to a given number. For example, 12. The standard that this aligned to was given a two-digit number, mentally find 10 more or 10 less than the number without having to count. The objective was the student will be able to mentally find 10 more and 10 less than a two-digit number. The real difficulty was in the part that was mental. My student had a problem just using pen and paper to solve the problem, and so we broke it down and gave him manipulatives. Our plan of action was I designed a lesson plan to help the student practice repeatedly 10 more and 10 less than a given number. In order to do this, I recognized that the student was only getting worksheet practice and not on any hands-on examples. In an attempt to gain student engagement and understanding, I brought out tens and ones manipulatives. My mentor mentioned that manipulatives were not being implemented for a couple weeks, but this would be a very good preview for him to have. I think that giving this student the manipulatives he needed to succeed made it a more equitable standpoint when everyone in the classroom got to it. Our activity, like I mentioned before, was just simply practice without using pen and paper, but rather manipulatives this time. I put down 12 cubes and asked the student to show one more to start off with, and then I asked the student to show one less than 12. I put out 12 cubes again and asked the student to show 5 more and then 5 less. This made it increasingly more difficult as we got on. At this point, it was a small aha moment when the student saw that it was a repeated action that he was doing. I then asked the student to show 10 more than 12 and then following 10 less than 12. It was easy for the student to put 10 cubes in the pile of 12 that I already had, and therefore it translated to what he was doing earlier in the classroom. Here you see the student work on the left, which is how we designed it earlier in the classroom a few weeks prior, and he didn't understand. So transferring that into the manipulatives made it easier for him to understand. In our textbook, Bandy Wally, page 32, stated, simplifying the qualities in a problem can make a situation easier to understand and analyze. This can lead to insights that can be applied to the original, more complex qualities in a problem. One way to simplify the problem is to test specific examples. The result of testing examples can provide insights into the structure of the task. In reference to text, I also use the 8 mathematical practices. 1, 4, and 8 is what I think I use most in my lesson plan. Make sense of problems and preserve in solving them, model with mathematics, and look for expressed regularity and repeated reasoning. I also stated that looking for patterns was very important. Searching for patterns, including regularity and repetition, everyday, spatial, symbolic, and imaginary context is an important entry point into thinking mathematically. The student didn't necessarily not know that 10 more than 12 was 22, or 10 less than 12 was 2. It was seeing that and transferring that onto paper is what he was missing. The common errors and or mathematical misunderstandings. A common error that occurs is students mistake 10 more for 10 less and 10 less for 10 more, which happen very often on his testing. Students in my class are given the accommodation of a number line if needed, and I think that is a misunderstanding that is helping because students form a habit to just look at the number line and go up and down one from the number given and are not actually processing that going up 1 is 10 less and going down 1 is 10 more. The student I was working with specifically was so in the habit of using this chart that he asked for it when we started the lesson together. Although I think it is a very good tool to have in reference to testing, each student should also know how to do it without the chart itself.